So this is a quick video for the Heel and Toe for Heroes team who are going to be racing their E46 325i BMW at Carolina Motorsports Park. So this is a screenshot from my simulator, and this looks like a pretty good representation of the track. I don't think the curbs are right. I think the curbs are more aggressive than they're showing here, but it'll give a pretty good indication of the lines and what you're supposed to be doing on the track. Now this track is pretty flat, but it does have some interesting elevation changes. It's relatively low grip, so you have to be careful about getting onto gas coming out of the corners. And there's a lot of trail braking, and there's a lot of different types of corners, so quite challenging for a novice driver. So let's get into it, and you will see that I have a funky little drawing tool here, so I can draw stuff for you and indicate what we're looking at. So here we are heading into turn 14, the final turn, and you'll see up here we have the track map. So this is going to help us situate where we are. So coming into the final corner, you want to be braking probably between the 2 and the 3 marker. You can see the braking line is here, and you can see I'm pretty hard on the brakes at the 2 marker. This corner is a very typical slow in, fast out. If you go in too fast to this corner, you will understeer wide on the exit, and the curbing is very aggressive on the exit. So I'd make sure you slow down a little more than you think. Trail the brakes all the way down to the inside. So as we come down, you see my hands are straight. I'm turning in just around the 1 marker. I'm still full on the brakes. You see I'm just starting to turn the wheel here as we reach the 1 marker, and I'm still full brakes, and I should be just easing off a little bit, turning in, easing off the brakes as I turn in. You actually want to probably have some light braking all the way down to the apex, which is pretty late in this corner. And the important thing, see, we're apexing there. I wouldn't take that much curb. The inside curbs you can get on, and they're going to help pull the car around. The important thing here is we want the car to be pointing down this way as much as possible. If you turn in too early, you'll find the car is pointing this way, and you'll either understeer wide or you'll have to wait to get on the throttle. So it's important to turn in a little later than you think. And this curbing on the outside on the simulator doesn't appear very aggressive, but looking at videos of it, this is really nasty here, and it's going to shake all your fillings out. So I try and avoid going on much onto the curbing here. Maybe you can use just the first little bit. You can see here it kind of slopes up and then flattens off here. So I would use this bit of the curbing here, but I wouldn't get all the way out here, and I definitely wouldn't get on the dirt, the sandy dirt, because it looks like there's quite a drop off at the end. In this car, this feels like a second gear corner. It's quite a slow corner. The gearing between this car and the 325 is going to be a little different. I'll tell you where I think it is, but I think that one's a second gear corner, and you'll be getting up into 4th down the straightaway. It's really important to get to throttle as soon as you can coming out of this corner, because you've got this long straightaway. So gradually bring the car over to the right side, and you'll see there's braking markers down the right hand side here. I would say the braking for this corner is round about here, depending on what speed we're doing. So that's going to be about halfway between the start finish line and the service road that you see here. So braking kind of halfway between the service road and the start finish line. It's a hard brake here, and you can see that's before the 2 post, which is here. So hard braking Again, this is another hard trail into the corner. So I'm going to be turning in a couple of car lengths before this smaller service road that you can see right here. So a couple of car lengths before that, and trail the brakes. You can see I'm still on the brakes here. I'm trailing all the way down, and you can apex quite early on this corner. We don't need to sacrifice too much. The key to doing turns 1, 2, 3 is to be full throttle through 2 all the way down the straightaway to 3. So you want to probably apex in the middle of this corner. It's a big trail brake, so you're trailing pretty much all the way down to the apex, and then you're getting back to hard throttle. Now, the car will want to come all the way over to the right. Try and stay out to the left as much as you can, because we want to be full throttle through turn 2. So you're going to have to adjust turn 1. You maybe have to turn in a little later to get out a little more, but you should be able to go full throttle through turn 2. Don't worry about the car coming out to mid-track. You've got plenty of time to get it over to the right before turn 3. Now, turn 3 is a very fast corner. It's probably also the most dangerous corner here. And on this lap, you can see here, I did a short lift, just a lift, no braking, lift to help the car turn in, and just to slow it a little bit, and then straight back to gas. It's a relatively early turn in here, but you want to be careful not to get onto this curbing on the exit. It looks very aggressive. There is a tire wall over here, and if you put 2 wheels off over here, there's a good chance the car's going to hook around, and then there's a big ditch over here. So let's be careful through here. Use all the track on exit, but no more than that. There's a curbing there. I wouldn't use much of it, but it's slight lift into the corner and then flat all the way down here, getting up into 4th gear. You can see we're going downhill here, and then it's back uphill into turn 4. So that's going to give us more grip coming into this corner. And this isn't a heavy braking corner. It's a relatively light brake, but I'm staying on the brakes a long time. In this car, I'm changing down into 3rd. We may be able to stay in 4th in the 325. And this corner is really a sacrifice corner, but you've got to be very careful coming through here because we're going over the crest of a hill. Let's have a look. So we've got a crest right across here, which is going to make the car light and unstable. So be careful coming through there. I'm just like, I've got no brake, no throttle until I'm turned through that crest. And then on top of the crest, I'm starting to go back to throttle. You can see down here. And then what I'm thinking of doing here, I'm straight lining it from turn 4 to turn 5. So back to throttle. Here you can see I'm back to full throttle, heading straight for that curbing, and then heavy brake. This car I'm changing down into 2nd. I have a feeling in the 325 it's going to be a 3rd gear corner. Now we want to be aggressively back to throttle on the exit. So it's a relatively late brake into this corner, apexing again quite late, and then back to throttle on the exit, and using all of the track on exit here, and then turning in for turn 6, just past the end of that curbing. Here we're changing up into 3rd gear. Don't worry too much about the apex of turn 6. We want to be in a good position just to brush this curbing on the inside of turn 7, and you want to apex right here just before the middle of this curb, and you should be able to stay full gas and let the car go all the way out to the outside. Again, this outside curbing is very, very aggressive, and I wouldn't use too much of it, and I would try and stay away from the dirt on the outside. Getting back to throttle as early as you can on this corner is really, really important, because we've got this long straight down to turn 8, and it's also downhill. Let's go down the hill. So up into 4th. Now you can see here we come over a crest and we're heading downhill into turn 8, which is a pretty quick corner, but you want to brake a little earlier than you would think and turn in a little earlier than you think. So there's a compression mid-corner and a fair amount of camber. So I would be braking somewhere around the 2 marker. You can see I'm actually just going to brakes at the 3 marker here. I want to be doing my maximum braking here. You can see the cars coming down into that compression. Trail the brake into the corner, turn in. You see I've still got some brake as I'm turning in at the 1 cone, turning in at the 1 marker. So we probably want to be around 2/3 away around this corner for the apex. You can see just about here, those are my tire marks on the curbing from previous laps. It hit the apex around about 2/3 of the way through there. We can go back to full power on the exit as we climb up the hill. It's going to be important in that car because we don't have much power. And just brush this curbing on the exit. You don't want to go too wide. And then just very gentle turning in, really keeping the steering angle to go turn 9. You don't want to be aggressive. You don't want to cut through the dirt on this corner, but just let the car feed through there and then just feed back out to the outside, getting ready for turn 10, the kink. So turn 10 is probably the scariest corner on this track. It can be taken flat, definitely can be taken flat in the 325. Probably don't want to do it on the first lap out. Knowing where the turn in is a little difficult. There aren't any real visual clues to the turn in, and there won't be this many cones around during the race that we're doing, because if there were, they'd all disappear after the first couple of laps. So I'm looking all the way through this corner, and I'm wanting to make it as shallow as possible, taking a little bit of this curbing on the inside. This curbing here is relatively flat, so you can take some of it. I wouldn't be all the way over here though. So let's just kind of focus on this area, just clipping that curb there. Perfect. And we're still full power, and then just let the car feed out. Now this is scary because the track drops off here. You definitely don't want to be putting 2 wheels off there. If you do, keep the wheels straight and then just bring it back on. If you go wide, there is a nice big beach over here that you could end up in, and we don't want to do that. So we want to carry as much speed through this corner as we can, but keeping all 4 wheels on track. You can see I'm flat and I'm right on the edge of the track here, and you got plenty of time to bring the car back over to the right. But braking for this corner, because you're coming in very fast, is a lot earlier than you think. There is no value into late braking into turn 11. Turn 11 is probably going to be where we're going to see a lot of overtaking out of turn 11 into turn 12. And I'll explain why. So I'm starting to brake at the 4 here. You can't go much later than that. Heavy braking down. This is a hairpin, so in this car it's 2nd gear. And you can see I'm all the way over to the right, still on the brake, starting to turn in. You can see I've just started to turn in just at the 1. And it is a relatively late apex. You probably want to be 2/3 to 3/4 around this corner. Don't give up too much on this corner. You will see lots of cars apexing very, very late to stay hugging on the left-hand side, but I don't think that's the quickest way through this corner. and you can see here there's tire marks. This is the inside tire that you want to be running around here. So late. This is a little early, but I'm using the curb to pull it around. I'm apexing right here. And what this does is it enables you to get back to gas between turn 11, turn 12 and get up inside other cars. There is lots of room on the exit. If you turn in earlier than that, you will find it very understeery and the car will push wide and you won't be able to get back to gas. So let's think 2/3 to 3/4 and then back to power. Let the car come all the way out here, all the way out here. Now, if you are getting to the outside much later than that, you won't have time to get back to the left side for turn 12. So just good power here. You can see I was a little wide. There's a little dirt up there in the rear view mirror. Don't do that. Let's bring it back over to as far over to the left side as you can get for turn 12. Now turn 12, as you can see from the map here, is pretty tight. So, and then it's going to lead into this sweeper of turn 13. So in this car, it's second gear. Turn your head to look through the apex. And this one is a pretty late apex. And we want to do a late apex here so we can get back to full power as soon as we can. If you apex too early, you will find that you're running wide. So apexing roundabout here and then back to power. And there's this curbing on the outside which indicates that's where you need to be. All the way out there, you can just brush that curbing. Again, don't use too much of it. But at this point, we're full power. And then 13, you can stay wide in 13. You don't need to worry too much about getting down to this apex here. You can stay relatively wide, and this is full power all the way down here, running into turn 14, which is where we started. So let's bring it down up into fourth gear, braking between the 2 and the 3. You see I've just gone to brakes here, so I'm braking nice and early. Let's get the car slowed and stable, turning in just after the 1, trailing the brakes all the way down to here. There's just still a little bit of brake pressure. Nice late apex, start to get back to power here. The car is pointing down that way. And you can see here, I'm back to virtually full power. As long as the car is turned in, you can get back to power early, and that is going to give you time benefits all the way down the straightaway. So let's take it all the way back down to the start finish. And let's see what that gave us in terms of a lap time. 150.3. This car has probably about 50 more horsepower than the 325 on a good day when it was new. So not knowing what the engine is doing, I'm guessing we're going to be lapping just over 2 minutes. And a lot of it depends on the tires that we're using, the suspension setup, and how fresh the engine is. So anyway, that's a quick lap around Carolina Motorsports Park. I hope that helps, and we will refine this once we actually get out there.